amazing Vicky Chow playing a fantastic, just blockbuster.
It got a little
piano.
hard there.
Yeah, maybe she had four hands. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll be able to ask her because in just a second, Michael Abels and Vicky Chow will be joining us, and we'll be able to ask them what it was like to make that project together.
Here we
Here
go.
we go.
There's Michael.
Michael Abels.
Hi.
Hey,
Welcome,
Michael.
Michael.
Hey,
Hey,
That was great.
Hi.
How are you?
beautiful. Fantastic.
thank you, thank you. Excuse me a second while I have, there we go. Now I only have one audio input. Much better.
I hope you were able to just watch Vicky playing.
Yes, it was,
Great.
she played the heck out of that. And
Unbelievable.
yeah, she's amazing, and that was a thrill. There she is.
Hello.
Hey, Vicky.
Hey, Vicky.
Thank you.
rocked it.
It was
Amazing.
so much fun.
And
Well,
the lighting
tell
is
us
so
about-
great too.
Yeah, can you guys tell us, I mean, how was the process of did you work together on this? Did Michael just hand you the music? How did this develop?
Well, Michael actually gave me the score really, really early. I think like 2 weeks after Kenny was like, hey, you guys should chat. And then like a couple weeks later, he's like, here's the score. Yeah, and it was really great. And I started working on it, and it was kind of kicking my butt. We got to Zoom together, and there was just some, things that I thought that, could make it a little bit easier to play. And so I chatted with Michael, and he was so open and flexible and understood where I was coming from, that he was, so graciously, agreed to make these little edits and changes. So it's been really fun to go back and forth a little bit and work on this together. And I think it's super fun to play. I think it works really well on the piano. So.
Well, I always believe the moment I heard her play it, I mean, I always tell students that I feel like there's an implied contract between a composer and a performer, wherein that every performer wants to be challenged. They really want to be challenged. But when you play challenging music, there has to be a payoff. There has to be like, the audience has to go, oh my God. And there were points in this piece that didn't follow through on that. They were needlessly difficult. And I hate that in music, personally. So I believe that that's not something that should be. It's certainly not in my music. So when I heard that in certain places, and I heard how hard she was working versus the payoff, I heard that I wasn't following through in my own mission. So it's just a little bit of editing. You can take something that's needlessly difficult and make it excitingly difficult, And so
It certainly was.
well, great. If that's what you feel, then that's what the piece is supposed to be. It's really supposed to, it's really hard, but it's also, I hope, really rewarding. So.
You want to say something about the title?
Yeah, so this is from a ballet, actually. And so that's how you hear some very traditional, balletic sort of rhythmic gestures in it, even though I tried to bust out of that. But at some point you can really hear certain, grand classical movements that dancers would make. And that's very much because that's where part of where the music's coming from. But also, it's meant to be about the border crisis. And specifically, this was the feelings I have when I see kids in cages. And I just a beginning of depicting what they might be experiencing or what I would experience if I was one of them. And so that's why the piece is called what it is.
You definitely pick up on the drama, and and it makes sense that it's from something that's meant to be part of a larger picture that shows you something else. So, and I mean, forgive me for asking, but this also sort of calls to mind how, you of course are well known as the composer of the music to Get Out and Us and films like this. So the idea of working with something that's meant to show a mood for something larger and to be part of a narrative story is something that you're really used to. I think you can really hear it in the piece. So
great. That's, for me, that's a compliment. I feel like all music is storytelling in some way. At least all the music I write is storytelling in some way. And in concert music, the audience is allowed to decide what the makeup of the story is. And that's a beautiful part of that experience. But I do want to feel like my music takes the audience on a journey that they can decide the details on, but that there's a journey we're going on. And if the audience places their trust of their time and attention in me, that I want to make sure that I follow through on the journey that I'm taking. And when we reach the end, I want people to feel like, okay, yeah, you know, that was a thing. and I had an experience and it made me feel a certain way, and that was good.
And Michael, where are you right now, and how has this time period been for you and your work? How has your existence been?
Well, first of all, Julia, I've never met you. It's great to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. I know I've watched you from afar, you know,
Wow.
but it's really nice to meet you.
And Michael as well. I've met David before. I blame him for roping me into this. So thank you.
Thank you for letting me rope you.
You're very welcome. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'm in my little house, which I love, and you see my studio, which is very, at least from this angle, you don't see all the technology. I'm facing the technology. All the old school stuff is behind me. And for now, it's my lab, and I enjoy both the old school and the new school here together in this little room. So, and my pandemic has been, you know, in some ways, for those close to me, we've had some, you know, some real difficulty. No one in my family has passed due to COVID, but people were sick, and it was frightening, and everything that people have been experiencing around the world. But in terms of creatively, I feel like composing is the original social distancing profession. And when I come in this room, my life is just absolutely unchanged, except that at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a few less people calling me. And that was a huge blessing for the introvert artist part. You know, I was able to do very good work, but at the same time, I was really aware of just how freaking lucky I was to be a person who experienced that as in any way positive, you know, and I just couldn't believe that I'm an artist and I get to focus on my art during this time, and it was incredible. So now I'm less than a week from my second shot. I'm as excited as a kid at Christmas. I'm nearly like having a little advent calendar. And I've been out in the world a little more, and it's so exciting, and it makes me appreciate everything that our human connection really is. So.
Michael, thank you so much for that piece, and Vicky for that performance. That was just spectacular, and
I want to also say that I love that every performer can create their own stage. And Vicky, that is gorgeous. I have no idea how it's orange and purple, but it's so beautiful.
It really looks
You know,
fantastic.
that's one of the little silver linings in this too, are these innovative stagings. So thank you, Vicky.
Yeah, she just knocked it out of the park, and I need complete. She could set up her own side coaching to artists, frankly. I know how to do that. So consider that gig, Vicky.
Yeah. Call me.
Listen, I'm going to.
Thanks so much, Michael. It's been great.
My pleasure, and bravo, Vicky. Amazing work.